You are listening to This Week in Clown World with Ben and Hobbs, so sit back, relax, take your black pill, and enjoy the show.
Good evening, friends. It is once again time for This Week in Clown World with Ben and Hobbs. I'm Hobbsy's Ben, you're in Clown World. Hello, Ben.
Here we are.
Hope everybody had a happy Halloween. Took your chillins out for some trick-or-treating. If you got kids, children are a blessing. They really are.
Yeah, I didn't get many trick-or-treat. I didn't get one trick-or-treater this year, which is weird. Last year I ran out of candy, so I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, we were the opposite. We didn't have very many last year because it was so cold, and this year we had quite a few. So, yeah.
I saw a lot of people posting online similar things that, no kids this year. What's going on?
Yeah, there were lots running around our neighborhood this year. But I was happy because two of my boys decided they wanted to be Army guys, so I decided to break out all of my high-speed cool guy gear and go as an Army guy with them. So that was kind of fun. There were a couple of people that recognized, oh shit, that's legit stuff you've got on. I'm like, yes, it is.
Yeah, and I'm not doing a fat streamer costume. I just think I caught the Kofifis or something.
Yeah. There was a new Kofifi dropped the other day. I don't know. It was like South Carolina.
Looks like he was searching for South Korea and sat on his phone or something.
Probably the same as Kofefe, where he just was like typing something in the middle of the night and kind of dozed off and hit send.
I'm kind of waiting for him to accidentally share the most inflammatory meme ever seen on a presidential Twitter.
Well, you don't have to go too far from the root. You just got to go to the DHS profile, and you will see some stuff that is a lot spicier than I figured any government profile would ever be spending. If you guys don't know, and I know that this is maybe controversial amongst the sorts of people who watch our show, but the Department of Homeland Security Twitter account has been a real gem lately. Even with the government shutdown, whoever's running that account's not getting paid, but they're just shitposting for love of the game.
Yeah, there was a bunch of Halo memes.
Yeah.
They've been pretty mild lately, but last week they were just, stop the flood.
Yeah. And before that, there was a little ice age. Is it Little Ice Age or Little Dark Age meme that they posted that people were like, holy shit, DHS is Little Dark Age posting and we're blackpilling. I had no idea what that means. Apparently it's a song that's kind of been floating around in some pretty hardcore white nationalist circles.
Really?
And I think they deleted it once it kind of came to light, but yeah, maybe you can look it up and play it. It's supposed to be kind of a catchy tune. But yeah, so they did that. They've been Halo posting. They've been Lord of the Rings posting. Yeah, it's been pretty wild over there.
Yeah, here's the most recent one.
Yeah, there it is. There won't be a Shire Pippin.
Yeah, England needs that one.
Yeah, no shit. The usual suspects are out there claiming, these are white supremacist dog whistles, and I think that whoever's running the DHS account is like, and
yeah, right. Well, and DHS, Homeland Security, it seems like we're stretching off our border for our security at this point. Multiple ships have been gunned down in the waters of Venezuela's.
Yeah, it's really kind of weird that we've shifted focus in the way that we have. We're bringing the Monroe Doctrine back.
I still don't understand why they just don't do privateers.
I know. Maybe they fear that such a thing, because Well, I think that what they're worried is that the perception in the United States is that Venezuela is such a backwards shithole and everybody's starving to death, and they probably wouldn't be able to put up any kind of a fight. So they don't want, guys like you and me to just, pick up some rifles and go down there and make a scene, when in reality, Venezuela is a petrostate that up until recently has had a great deal of wealth, and the communist dictators that run that place have actually sunk a fairly decent amount of that wealth into defense spending, and they have some pretty high-end stuff that they've got from Russia, China, Iran, uh, probably some other not so friendly places around the
Mm.
globe. And we have a fairly significant naval presence off the coast of Venezuela that is, I don't want to say uh, that they're not embargoing. What's the word that I'm thinking of? Blockading
Mhm.
the country from the sea. Um, but that could change, fairly quickly. But they are out of reach. But Venezuela has said that not only do they have surface-to-surface missiles and surface-to-air missiles that they're not afraid to use on U.S. assets, but they've also petitioned Russia for assistance. Now, turning that on its head, if you think Donald Trump hasn't been on the big red phone with Vladimir Putin saying that this is our sphere of influence and you'd better not even think about getting involved over here, you've got your own problems to worry
Right.
about, then yeah, you'd be a fool. And Venezuela doesn't have anything that Russia needs that they don't have themselves. So for them to get involved in on Venezuela's behalf is it would be a stupid move considering they're bogged down in Ukraine right now.
Well, and I mean, the Venezuela drug interdiction makes sense. I mean, why do you wait until it gets to our border if you can stop it in the open water?
Right. The libertarian argument is that there's no sure way to know that these people aren't smuggling drugs. And while that is true, I don't think that a cigarette boat with 400 horsepower outboard motors is actually trawling for bluefin off the coast of Venezuela heading due north. Now, there's the argument that those boats can't make it to the United States without stopping to refuel like 4 times, and that's true. But if you order a package from Amazon and it's shipping from, say, the port in California, and it's laid over at a UPS facility in Denver, and then it gets to your house the next day after that, if you interdict that package between the port of LA and Denver, that doesn't change the fact that it was heading to your house.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the counter argument to that, and that is something that I can see.
Where do they think they're fueling up at, in Puerto Rico or what?
I don't think those boats aren't heading to America. Those boats are probably heading either to Panama or to Mexico, where they will get offloaded.
Mm.
The chemicals that they have, if I have read the things that I've read correctly, they're not actually shipping in fentanyl. They're shipping in chemical precursors to make fentanyl, as well as things like cocaine and marijuana and other contraband. And so they're destined probably for Panama or Mexico or somewhere in that area, and then they'll get offloaded there, and then they'll get smuggled in via the land route. Because, like
Hmm.
I said, you have to stop and refuel those boats something like 4 times, and you'd have to have a willing port that would necessitate
Well, I got to
that.
say, with all our satellite tech, it's got to be pretty easy to figure out which ones are the drug boats.
That's what everybody keeps saying. They're saying that with all of the orbital surveillance as well as the suborbital surveillance that we have right now, the fact that this has been going on as long as it has without us doing anything about it has been either political cowardice or they've been letting it happen on purpose. You remember the Iran Contra affair
Mm.
where they were using subsidiaries in order to fund black ops. the drug trade was fueling the arms trade, which was fueling a different arms trade, which was smuggling arms around the world. And, you're arming socialist revolutionaries in Nicaragua using money laundered through the drug trade in Colombia so that you could then launder the funding to purchase arms in the Middle East to fight Iran. And it was like, these black budgets thrive on shit like this.
Right.
And
Well, and it seems pretty obvious that Venezuela was just dumping they weren't actually putting anybody in prison. It seems like they were just running them up to the United States.
that is another allegation that has been made. They had psychiatric hospitals and prisons, and they would tell their prisoners that as a condition of your release, you head north. Don't stop till you get to the United States. And Panama let them through, and Mexico let them through. And that seems to be where a large chunk of the Joe Biden open borders wave came from, was from Venezuela and the surrounding areas.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thanks, Joe Biden. And also you talk about them shuttling drugs in. China was also doing it.
Yeah, they're moving things through Venezuela. That's where a lot of these fentanyl precursors come from, is from China.
Well, they shot down a boat on the Pacific side, I guess, recently.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see where that was at. I mean, we've talked about what a great plan by China to just ship drugs in here. Let's see. Eastern Pacific, it doesn't really give details.
Yeah, well, they were not officially, but unofficially controlling the Panama Canal for the longest time. And so they were using that to get their stuff through the canal down to Venezuela, where things were offloaded, laundered, put into shipping containers or onto boats.
The pictures of all these boats, it's like the Instagram reel you see where looking for a summer job and it's a drug boat just hauling ass. And I mean, that's what these are. You can see the pictures. It's got 4 outboard motors, a shitload of gas cans, and it looks like crates.
Yeah, crates or 55-gallon blue drums full of God knows what. And you've heard of Cocaine Bear. Get ready for Fentanyl Shark.
Yeah, I guess coming out of China, too, there's an even stronger opiate now also.
Oh, really? I haven't heard of this one.
Yeah, it's been shown up in Europe, and it's starting to show up here. So China's just continuing to pump that shit out.
Well, this is revenge for the opium wars. So now that's our fault, too.
If there's anything Chinese knows, it's opiates. So yeah, that's been going on the domestic side in the Pacific and the Gulf.
Unfortunately, it does look like it's going to turn into an actual hot war.
Yeah,
which sucks for Trump's legacy of being the anti-war president.
Yeah, I don't know what that's interesting. What that would even look like.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Would it destabilize the region? We're going to make another Middle East fuck up, but even closer this time.
Yeah, I don't trust our government not to fuck this up. I mean, I would be happy if the people of Venezuela could get rid of that shithead Maduro and, maybe turn things around with a Milei type character, which is another domestic thing that we can talk about too, is the shit going on down in Argentina. But I don't see that happening without severe military intervention because, like I said, Maduro and his predecessor, Hugo Chavez, did dump a significant amount of defense spending with their petrodollars, and they have some high-end gear, and all of that money has allowed them to buy loyalty of the people who are probably the only well-fed people in Venezuela right now.
Right.
They've eaten the dogs.
Wasn't the lady that won the Nobel Peace Prize from Venezuela? Is that right? Or
yeah. She was the opposition candidate.
Who they think probably actually won.
Yeah.
But the prior administration didn't have much support for her because she seems to be kind of conservative.
God forbid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, what is it? What is it lately with the conservative women taking charge over here? We got Marine Le Pen in France. You got Giorgia Meloni in Italy. You got this gal down in Venezuela. You got the gal over in Japan.
mhm.
It's like, the ladies are standing up. It's like, come on, guys, we're falling behind here.
Right. Look at all of Europe. It's all pansy white males.
Yeah, or childless cat ladies.
Right.
You seem to have a wide pendulum swing one way or the other when you get women in charge. You either get like the most disgusting leftist open borders,
Yeah. What was
groveling
that one chick? I mean, you've
self-flagellation.
been on South America. Eva Peron. Where was she? Was pretty big leftist. She's in.
That was
Well, that's
Argentina.
Argentina. I mean, we
Yep.
could swing into Argentina. I mean, her movement she started is still fighting Malay.
Yep, they're even called the Peronists.
Yeah.
And yeah, Millet, it was looking like, I mean, it's been a roller coaster ride. He's done a lot of cuts. The inflation that he's done has went down, and then it went back up, and then it was looking like his government was going to lose all power because everything that they had in the legislature was going to go out the window with these midterm elections, and then he would be kind of a lame duck president without any actual power. And then recently the midterms happened, and he actually gained quite a bit. Shocked everybody. I think it shocked him too that he gained a lot of power within the parliament. It's not enough for a full majority, but it's probably big enough that he'll be able to pull some squishier people from the other side over in order to get the business of Argentina done. In news that kind of affects us here in America and Nebraska, we're talking about there was a $20 billion currency exchange along with a promise of buying $20 billion worth of Argentinian beef. Was it was it billion or million?
It was billion.
Okay, yeah, it was 20 billion and 20 billion for a $40 billion aid package, which pissed a lot of people off here, especially here in Nebraska in the beef sector, because we also produce a lot of beef. We actually produce more beef here in Nebraska than we do, or no, we're right behind Argentina, Texas, Argentina, Nebraska, but we're still up there in the top three. Kind of, I want to say maybe not so much of a handout, but something to salve the nerves of the agricultural sector. Part of Trump's recent visit to the Far East was convincing China to start importing our soybeans tariff-free again, which, if you know anything about Chinese food, they love to put soy sauce on stuff.
Tofu.
Tofu's also soy. Let's save any Asian androgyny jokes for later. Maybe there's a connection. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, the Chinese consume a great deal of soy, and we produce a great deal of soy. So we're losing out on beef, but bumping up the soy exports, and that kind of levels things off. Not so great if you're a beef producer, great if you're a soy producer. Very seldom do you get somebody who does both. So
I've kind of got mixed feelings on the beef thing. On the one hand, I mean, have you bought beef lately?
No.
It's ridiculous. I mean, you're talking like $8 a pound for ground beef in some places.
Yeah.
And the beef producers are making a bunch of money. I don't know what the right answer is. It really, you would hope that Americans would be able to up. I mean, if the price is going up, they should, up their output, right? But you can't just make more cattle.
Yeah,
And
take a little
also,
while.
yeah, also they're constricted by land costs. I mean, it's so expensive. It's not like you or I could be like, hey, this beef game seems like it's where it's at. I'm going to get in on it. I mean, we're talking $2 or $3 million buy-in.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing about farming in general, but especially a long-term product like beef is you have the expensive buy-in, you have the long turnaround. You can't just make a beef cow in a season. It takes a couple of years. And when the market is down, what do you do with those surplus? Well, you have to cull the herd. And even with all of that put together, your margins are still going to be razor thin.
Mm-hmm.
You add things like inflation or property taxes on top of that, which are always in flux depending on what the Fed is up to in all of their infinite wisdom. There could be several years in a row where you're making a lot of money, but your overhead is eating into it, and you're barely able to feed yourself with anything more than the beef that you produce, which, an all beef diet sounds pretty fucking cool to me.
Right.
But
Yeah, and most of your inputs on beef are on your land. It's not like crop production where you have seeds, fuel, fertilizer, etc. You have some chemical costs for vaccinations and whatnot, but a large part of it is land and transport.
mm-hmm.
And all of that, land prices are through the roof. So they're getting hit on taxes on it. So
Yep.
I've heard a lot of ranchers talking about where, they're finally going to get ahead on some stuff.
Yeah. And we need to. That's the sort of thing that should be kind of a pride of America. Is you look at a place, that strip between the Rocky Mountains and the Mississippi River is all ag land, and we could feed the world like 2 or 3 times over with just that strip of land, and we should be doing it.
Mm.
There is no reason that we need to have things like farm subsidies and the government tinking with the margins on the markets and everything just to make stuff work. Everybody needs to eat. It's a product that sells itself. We do not need the government involved in this to fuck it up.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know how there's no short-term fix for it. I mean, I get where Trump was at. He's like, they're being ungrateful. Meat prices are all-time high and people are complaining.
No.
I don't know. I mean, damn, your hamburger helper meal for your family of 4 is up around $12 at that point.
Yeah, hamburger helper is supposed to be the poor man's.
Yeah,
stretches your food.
But it's become a luxury. Who would have guessed beef would become a luxury for a lot of people? How in
Not
America
in the United States.
Yeah,
that's beef is the reason that when the United States entered World War I, and it was the first real exposure that Europeans had to large numbers of Americans, they were marveling at just how big we were.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because of our diet, which is high in red meat and high in starches and everything. The American diet gets a lot of shit these days because it's all processed crap. But when it comes time to actually do shit like fight wars, the old American diet was like second to none. And it produced bigger, hardier stock that was able to, do things like win world wars.
Plains Prepper down here. What we've been hearing, a lot of ranchers are selling herds without replacement plans. Yeah, I could see that. Finally, they're like, you know what? I'm cashing the fuck out of this. Beef's at an all-time high. Sell them all. I'll sell my land. I'm done.
Yeah.
So that's just going to contribute to a bigger problem.
Yeah, that's going to lead to a dip in the market, dip in supply, which is going to drive prices up even further. Unless buy beef from Argentina, get it.
There's got to be some point where there's got to be a breaking point with beef. You know what I mean?
Well, there's an equilibrium
where people are just like, you know what? I can't even eat it anymore.
I can eat beef every day.
Oh, well, you bought it from a rancher.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that I could physically if I wanted to.
Oh, yeah. me too, but pocketbook wise, it's like,
oh yeah.
You go look at a steak and it's $15. It's like, shit. I guess I'll save that for Sunday dinner at this point. Get all my protein from eggs and tuna fish most of the time.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I buy like an 8-pound bag of chicken breasts from Walmart and cook it in the Instant Pot and just have that sustain me throughout like a week.
Yeah, this is Nebraska. In America, we should be able to eat all the damn red meat we want.
That's right.
But we can't. So I guess we hit on the Argentina thing. Oh, you know what? What else did you want to hit on before I bring something else up?
Well, we have the snappening
Yeah, I mean,
that
speaking
happened
of
today.
expensive food, yeah.
Yeah, is that what you're going next?
No, I wasn't, but hit it.
But it is kind of a segue. So, yeah, the snappening has kicked off today, where EBT cards are not being refilled thanks to the government shutdown. Everybody's pointing fingers at everybody else. The last time I checked the count, we are still at, well, we're needing 60 senators to vote on the clean continuing resolution, which will reopen the government. And right now we have 53 Republicans, one Democrat, which I believe is John Fetterman, and one independent, which I believe is Bernie Sanders. So 55 out of the 60 needed. The Democrats are still holding out. And this is the Republicans' fault. This is the Democrats' fault. This is Trump's fault somehow. Yeah, everybody's getting crazy. And if you go on TikTok, you'll see what would be honestly an easy to mistake uh, for a young hippopotamus, talking about how they're going to starve to death come November 1st. And lots of basketball Americans talking about how they're going to start stealing from stores, where it's like, start stealing? You're going to start stealing? But yeah.
It'd be interesting to see a lot of churches and just local communities seem to have really stepped up. I'm curious if that's gonna what happens if they get rid of Snap and it turns out, oh, we didn't really need it this whole time. It's just
Well, that was something that Matt Christensen, he had a video that I listened to this morning, and he was saying that he's been kind of on Twitter and Blue Sky, uh, troll just lurking in left wing spaces, and they're talking about how they're going to how they're going to start, setting up their own soup kitchens in church basements or in parks or whatever, and try to keep people fed. And he's just like, you guys are just so close. You guys are so
right.
close to figuring it out. You want this sort of thing to be as local and personal as possible. This is the way that America used to work. It used to have its charities taken care of at the local level by churches and community centers, and neighbors used to be the ones who would do this sort of thing, until you decided to get the federal government involved in some way.
Well, and all of our social issues hinge on the handouts. If you got to choose between fentanyl and food, I'm not sure what you're going to pick, but if you pick the wrong choice, you won't be picking it very long. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Money's fungible. Where if it comes down to getting high or getting something to eat, you're probably going to get something. Well, I mean, depending on who you are, but you're probably going to get something to eat so you can keep on living. But if you've got this money coming in, well, it's like, now I can eat and I can go get high.
Yeah.
So any money that's subsidized is, it's like I said, money is a fungible asset. We have somebody over here, Purple BTW, says Alabama John said he wants to talk to us right now. He streams on Rumble too. He said, I don't know who Alabama John is.
Uh, I'm watching I've got his stream pulled up here. A couple dudes hanging out.
Huh, okay. Well, I don't know how we'd actually get into that, but maybe we could swing by after the
Right.
the stream's over. We go for an hour, Purple. Once we hit the hour, then maybe if you could tell us how to get into the stream, then
Yeah.
maybe we could.
So the continuing resolution, though, was supposed to fund the government until November 15th. Am I right? Did you see that?
Something like that, but it's what they call a clean CR. And the reason that the Democrats are holding out on it is because the clean CR is, I believe, all it does is fund the mandatory funded government programs with no discretionary funding at all. And the Democrats wanted to extend COVID era Obamacare subsidies for healthcare, which would do things like cover transgender shit and illegal alien healthcare and stuff. And the
Mm-hmm.
Republicans are like, no, No, we're not doing that. So what? Of course we're not doing that. We're going to pass a clean CR. We're going to pay the military, pay the park service, fund things like SNAP and EBT and stuff like that. We're not doing any of this weird like temporary spending COVID shit. Just no. And the Democrats are throwing a hissy fit about that because one of the reasons that they want to extend these things is because they're afraid that once these COVID era Obamacare subsidies expire, what's going to happen is that everybody's healthcare premiums are going to shoot up something. I think the average was like $2,750. And people are going to see just what a shit show Obamacare was. And they're going to demand that it actually be repealed, which I said 10 years ago that Obamacare being a mess was the entire point of Obamacare because they couldn't get universal health care pushed through.
Single payer.
They wanted single payer universal health care like the NHS in Britain or what they're doing up in Canada. They couldn't get that, so they came up with a compromise in Obamacare, and they made it such dog shit from go that once it actually collapsed, people would be crying for single payer health care. That was the
they
whole
kept
plan.
putting Band-Aids on it for the last decade.
Yeah, and now the wound is gangrenous.
Yeah.
Way to
go. I didn't realize that they were getting that much subsidized by the government. I mean, this has been, think how much, no wonder the health insurance companies are just making money hand over fist.
Right.
They're getting it covered by the feds for all these people. So that kind of makes you wonder if the health insurance companies are in bed with the Democrats on this one or what? Because they surely, obviously they want to keep getting that money.
Well, yeah, the thing about the health insurance companies is if we switch over to a single payer system, then they'll be able to charge whatever they want.
Right.
And they know that they've got a guaranteed buyer.
Yeah, I don't know how you would sure there's smarter people than me that have a plan, but I don't see how they would unring that fucked up belt at this point without just a massive disruption.
Yeah, this would be like fixing the healthcare system in the United States is going to be one of those things that you would have to go in there and just completely burn it to the ground and start rebuilding it from the ground up. And in between that razing it to the ground phase and the rebuilding phase, you're going to have a lot of people that are going to slip through the cracks, and they don't want to take that risk because whoever tries to pull that off is going to look like a monster because lots of grannies and preemie babies and low-income people are going to probably end up paying the ultimate price because of it. But unfortunately, it's one of those things that's going to need to be done.
Right.
And I just pray that I'm not one of those people that has to deal with the consequences of that. But the only other option is that you have the continuation of what's going on, where the healthcare keeps getting shittier and it keeps getting more and more expensive. So, right. I mean, eventually you're going to get to the point where people are slipping through the cracks. They either can't pay or they won't be seen by a healthcare provider and they're going to end up dying. So it's kind of a do it now and take care of it, or wait until it gets to the breaking point and have it happen anyways. Kick the can down the road and just pray that you're either dead or in a position where he's going to insulate you from the consequences of it.
Well, and I think the hospitals will end up taking in the pants the most because, they can't turn people away from the ER.
Yeah.
You'll just have a bunch of uninsured people wandering into the ER.
Yeah.
And we'll all end up having to pay for that.
The only thing that I think that might be a potential way to fix this is a parallel constructed healthcare system that goes back to what we had back in like the 20s and 30s, where you more or less had private doctors, some of which weren't even like college educated or licensed, but you had a guy that I've got all the books and I've been reading them and I'm going to try my hand at this doctoring thing.
It's got to be at least as good as Bermuda's Finest.
Yeah, the doctors and engineers and lawyers that we've been letting it across the border. No, but we used to have this. There used to be kind of a system called lodge practice, where you would join a local group like an Elks Lodge or a Freemasons Lodge or something like that, and those lodges would have a concierge doctor on the payroll, where like each one of the members of the lodge would pay like a $5 dues for
Right.
the health insurance of being able to be seen by this concierge doctor whenever they would need to. And of course that would add up, that would keep the doctor in business, and the doctor would see the patients, and the patients would know that you're not going to bother the doctor with trivial bullshit like you've got the sniffles or whatever, because more often than not, the doctor is somebody in your neighborhood that you know personally. It's
Mhm.
not like the ER right now where everything is impersonal and, the doctor's just this doctor that you don't know, so you don't feel bad about wasting their time.
Well, I think people might be trying to do that because I just saw a place down the street from my house. There's a commercial district, and there's a lady there. I forget the name of her business, but it sounded like a doc in a box, like urgent care.
Yeah.
But she's a nurse practitioner, and she's doing exactly like what you described. It's not a doctor. She's been a nurse practitioner for years and years, and she's trying to do personalized, holistic healthcare.
Yeah, and that's the sort of thing that would probably have to be parallel constructed alongside of our current health insurance system, so that when you raise that healthcare system to the ground in order to rebuild it, you have something that you can fall back on. The only reason that things like lodge practice or whatever went out of style was because the government got involved in, you need to have 8 years of college, you need to have a license from a certified board, you need to do this, you need to do that, and it priced these country doctors out of business. Or it's like you
Yeah.
either have to be
Do
part
you
of a
need to see a doctor for everything? No. I mean,
no.
probably 90% of my visits could have been handled by a nurse or even an EMT.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that deregulate it. And, you were talking about health insurance. This is probably a boring topic for everybody. I mean, one of the things holding it back. Well, let me throw this in here because Plains Prepper said, saw Ron Paul was talking about making it legal for people to buy health insurance for prices like Costco. Then regular people could be part of a larger group. Yeah, stuff like that they prevent. You can't have insurance companies across state lines either. There's 50 Blue Cross Blue Shields.
Yeah, and that's part of the. It sounds good. It sounds like it was made with good intentions, where you standardize healthcare so that you know that you're not going to see a quack or something like that. But if you end up like, cheaping out and going to discount Bob's appendectomies and car detailing shop, and he ends up screwing up your life or something, well, sue his ass.
Yeah.
That's what a civil suit's for.
Yeah, and a lot of these hospitals, they hold the healthcare hostage by, around here especially, they bought up. Say some doctors start a clinic, they'll just buy them up.
Mm-hmm.
They make them an offer they can't refuse, and I bet this lady doesn't last either. I'm sure they'll buy her up.
Yeah, probably. The buy-in, same thing with the ranchers and the beef situation. The buy-in for an individual practitioner is so high. You got to have all of this equipment, all of this. You have to have a facility in which to do it. You have to have liability insurance. You have to, it's like if you don't, it's hard to do it on your own. You either have to be a part of a big hospital that can underwrite all of the equipment and training and personnel and overhead that you need, or you won't. You won't last, or you get bought out by one of the big hospitals, and then you're just right back to square one.
Lewis said Dr. Nick from The Simpsons.
That's, yeah. Dr. Nick Riviera. Yeah. Hello, everybody.
As long as he's cheap.
Yeah. Exactly. Take the risk into your own hand. You sign a waiver. You waive responsibility and liability because you know what you're getting into, or you shop around for a doctor that you can trust. That's the way that it used to be. Mm-hmm. And it worked pretty good until some bureaucrat in the government decided that I need to put my hand into this because, by golly, too many people are getting hurt or something.
Yeah, and a lot of people probably don't know about the certificate of need laws. I mean, our government dictates when a hospital can open and close.
Yeah.
So,
Unnecessary.
yep.
Unnecessary, heavy-handed.
Bunch of government meddling. Oh, the thing I wanted to talk about. Did you see Nick Fuentes on Tucker?
I haven't watched it yet,
That was
but
interesting.
I've seen a lot of reactions to it. The internet has feelings about it.
What were the reactions you saw? I didn't see.
It 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 ranged everywhere from I'm glad to see that Nick is finally becoming more mainstream to this is a sure sign that Qatar is controlling Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes, and this is the end of them, and they're both a couple of crackpot anti-Semites, and they should be canceled from the internet.
Well, and I watched when Candace Owens came on Tucker, and those two did nothing but talk shit about Nick Fuentes.
Yeah.
And then he comes on his show and he's like, "Thanks for coming on." I'm like, "What? These guys?"
Yeah, Tucker's been he says some inflammatory stuff about somebody during his show, and then he'll turn around and invite that person onto the show. The headline of the episode is "I thought you were a Fed," which is apparently a mutual mutual thought that they had for each other. Like when Tucker interviewed Candace, he was like, I know what that is. And Nick Fuentes is like, dude, your dad was in the CIA. Don't fucking at me with that shit. And then they both come on and it's like, you're not a Fed, you're not a Fed. And the Spider-Man meme. And yeah, so I guess they're both not Feds or they both are Feds. Either way, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know which one is right.
Yeah.
I mean, I lean a little more towards they're both Feds, but I don't know.
Yeah, Nick's been making the rounds a lot. He was on Alex Jones the other day. He had a personal beef with Charlie Kirk that once Charlie was assassinated, he probably had the most level-headed and somber reaction to it that people were not expecting. Oh, I thought you hated Charlie Kirk. He's like, no, I didn't hate Charlie Kirk. I just thought he wasn't going hard enough, and I was, iron sharpens iron with him.
Right.
And yeah, so it was, normally Fuentes. I mean, he's. I will give credit where it's due. He's a very eloquent speaker, and he's only like 23 years old. It was.
Yeah, he's not in my rotation. I don't know. I might check him out.
I see clips.
Yeah. I was surprised from the interview to find out that he was a diehard conservative at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really gather where his turn came from. It seemed like after Ron Paul, he kind of went that way.
I think he briefly worked for the Daily Wire.
Right. And they asked him if he'd been to Israel. And
yeah. And that's when he started getting a little bit suspicious and he started doing a little bit of digging. And like most internet autists with hyperfixation, that kind of became his personality.
Pattern recognition.
Yes, pattern recognition.
So yeah, the interview wasn't too bad. It wasn't one of his most, shocking ones. It was interesting that he's mainstream enough that he'd go on Tucker now because he's pretty much persona non grata for a while.
Yeah, the Dinesh D'Souza, who has been, I mean, I typically kind of like Dinesh D'Souza. Some of his things he says I find are a little bit off-putting, but man, he's been like nonstop bashing Fuentes over the last few weeks and Israel posting. And it's like, dude, you're trying too hard. $7,000 isn't worth that much. You're really killing your credibility. But he was saying things like, this isn't Nick Fuentes moving into the mainstream. This is Tucker Carlson moving out of the mainstream. It's like, yeah, no.
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, Fuentes probably has a pretty good following among Gen Z, and they're not believers in our greatest ally.
Yes, his main constituency seems to be angry young right-wing men, which is not a bad constituency to have.
No, that was the Ron Paul group years ago.
Yeah,
Was kind of the same thing.
yeah. Lights shining in your eyes, the enthusiastic naivete that comes, and then the world shoves a black pill down your throat, and now you're listening to Nick Fuentes calling yourself a groyper and talking about how the Wailing Wall needs to burn to the ground.
The Jewry.
International Jewry.
I can't deny him on some of it, though. Let's see. Oh, we want to get into JD Vance.
Yes, JD Vance wins the internet from here till the end of time. He decided to become the fat JD meme with the curly hair. It's not quite curly enough, but there's a
great thread too. It's full of
yes,
Vance memes.
He posted that one too. Yeah, there's what he was supposed to be. The fat Vance with the Jerry curl. Shabbat shalom. Fat Vance on the orb. Yep, there he is. And he even posted one where he posted one where he comes out of his front door and he looks at the camera and he says, "Have a happy Halloween, and remember, don't forget to say thank you."
I like this one.
Yeah. Looks like Kurt Russell in Escape from New York.
That's one of my favorite Vances right there. But
it's just one after another.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't know why the left keeps trying to push that, the Vance memes are a bad thing. They're obviously going to keep him in the zeitgeist of everybody.
Yeah, and like we were talking about before we came on tonight, we've got 3 more Halloweens for JD Vance to dress up as one of his edits.
I'm pulling for Baby Vance, the next one.
Yes, the little Lord Fauntleroy with the big oversized lollipop.
Yeah, he also made the news for an awkward hug to Kirk's widow.
Yeah. Everybody's saying that Usha Vance is going to be his biggest liability come 2028, and that he's going to kick her to the curb and hook up with Erica Vance. And I'm just like, y'all are just making drama up.
Yeah. I noticed the left keeps trying to do that. They were like, I saw an article, it was like from the Atlantic or something. It's like, how does Vance relegate, or how does he marry his beliefs to his wife's? It's like, what are you guys trying to start shit for?
Well, he said at a recent event, he hosted a Turning Point event, and he said that he's raising his kids Catholic, and he's trying to convince his wife to convert. And I saw on Twitter today that Milo Yiannopoulos is like, given her age and beliefs, she's just waiting for her parents to kick the bucket. So he's optimistic that she wants to, but she doesn't want us to disappoint mom and dad.
All right, Hindu has to be one of those religions that I don't understand. I mean, it's obviously bullshit. It's just a bunch of fairy tale stories. You have 6-armed elephants and...
Have you looked up Juggernaut theory?
No.
Okay, so Juggernaut theory goes that, how there seems to be this epidemic of Indians getting hit by trains?
Okay,
so Juggernaut theory, the Juggernaut was a large mobile idol that was dragged out on certain Hindu holidays. It was like this 9-ton wagon with like a statue of Vishnu on it.
That's even the origin of the word?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they would drag this Juggernaut through villages and during certain celebrations, and people would throw themselves in front of it and get crushed by it. And so Juggernaut theory states that this is like epigenetic memory of the juggernaut that has like passed down genetically, and so Indians are either like predisposed to throwing themselves in front of large moving objects or are not bothered by the fact that they may be killed by a large moving object.
I mean, it's so goofy. I mean, I can, Judaism, Islam, I can understand. But when you have a pantheon of goofy looking cartoon character gods, it's like, how I don't understand how those people get up and be like, surely they don't believe it. I don't,
There's a lot of things about the Indian subcontinent that are weird when put into the context of the surrounding,
uh,
the surrounding.
well, yeah, even going east, Buddha. Okay, I can get Buddha.
Yeah, Buddhism isn't even really a religion; it's
No.
more of a philosophy of life.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when I was younger, I was like looking into the various like weapons of the world, and you look at like European swords, and they follow a fairly straightforward pattern. You look at like Japanese and Chinese swords, and they follow like a you know
Right.
a template. Things make sense, and then you get to India, and things just fucking go everywhere.
Yeah.
You
That
got like
long, flexible, bendy sword.
yeah, the whip sword, the gauntlet with the 3 blades on the end of it. I mean, they just go all out, and it's like it's not just like weapons and religion either. It's architecture as well. Things like the Taj Mahal is wildly different from anything you find anywhere else, and the temples that they've got in that area are I mean, they're really intricately made and everything, but they are just really, really weird when you look at them in the context of the cultures and the lands that surround India. So it's like India's an alien place.
Yeah. I mean, just to make sure I wasn't talking shit about their god. I mean, they've got hundreds of them. And,
Yeah.
most of them have animal heads, have magical powers and whatnot. It just seems weird
How do you
that
keep track of that?
that a pantheistic religion has made it to the modern day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think maybe you're onto something. That, I mean, she's intelligent. She's got to realize that she's got to realize that it might be goofy, and is probably going to hold back her husband's. What a story for her husband among the conservative base.
Yeah, converted my wife to Catholicism from Hinduism.
Yeah. That's all we
The only-
had for
the
the
only-
week. Oh, go ahead.
The only one I was gonna say the only one we got holding out is Tulsi. We gotta.
She's some weird sect,
She's-
isn't she?
Yeah, she's some sect of Hinduism. Yeah.
Oh, she's Hindu also.
Yeah.
Let me see here while we're talking about her. Yeah, she's in some version of Hinduism.
Got to knuckle down.
Jainism, I guess.
Yeah, Jainism. Got to knuckle down and get her to accept that Christ is Lord.
Yeah, I'll knuckle down on her.
No comment. No comment.
But next week we'll be back again. Thanks for joining us this week. We hit all the topics of the week. Well, watch out for the roving snap bandits that are going to be looting the Walmarts, I guess, is what people are saying. I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll see.
I don't think it's going to happen here where I am. I don't think it's going to happen where you are, but certain urban areas of the country.
The states are always welcome to fund it. They're, and it probably won't be much. Well, I said we're leaving, but a lot of people don't realize that SNAP has different rules by state.
Yeah.
In Nebraska, we're largely on a system where if you don't have a job, you don't get benefits.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some of the single moms get benefits, but if you can work, you don't get anything. You get like a 6-week grace period.
Mm-hmm.
So these other blue states are welcome to dump money into it if they want to keep it going.
I think Virginia has already come up with a plan to do just that. If I remember reading that, I think it was Virginia, maybe Texas
Cue the
too.
Giorgio meme. I must have missed that one. But
Yeah,
catch us here, roads2liberty.com, YouTube, same thing. You find us on Facebook. We don't post there much anymore because it doesn't go out to anybody. Maybe one day we'll get unzucked.
yeah.
Alex
Still need to
Jones
figure out
store is still
X.
good. Yeah, need to figure out X. Hobbs has been posting on X. We'll try figuring out how to stream over there someday when we remember.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say roads2liberty.com to buy our merch. Go to thealexjonesstore.com/R2L. That's our affiliate link. We get 10% kickback from anything that you buy over there. They've got some new stuff that's just came out. They have something called Methyl Drive that has a lot of like methylated B vitamins and stuff in it. They also have something called Power Plant that has a lot of like mushroom extracts and stuff. And they also have a bovine colostrum supplement that I think I'm on like day 4 or 5 of, which actually like my stomach feels a
Amount of
little.
kids you have, you should be on human colostrum supplement.
No, not quite.
Just save it up.
Yep. And then they also came out with something called Methylene Red recently, which is one of those things that apparently it goes with the Methylene Blue. I haven't ordered or tried it yet, but it's got a lot of like B vitamins and some other like CoQ10 and some other crazy shit into it. So like any of this stuff that I'm shilling from the Alex Jones website, I will get around to eventually trying it. Everything that I've gotten off of the alexjonesstore.com/R2L has not disappointed so far. So go ahead, go over there, give some of it a try. Remember the /R2L at the end to give us a 10% kickback.
Great. And we'll be back next week, and stay honky.